Good morning. Wow, folks are still coming in. Good morning to everyone. Good morning and welcome to the First Universalist Church of Yarmouth. My name is Larissa Sellers and I'm a worship assistant on our worship council, and I'm glad to be greeting you this morning. A warm welcome to everyone who is gathered here in our sanctuary, as well as to all of our friends who are joining us on Zoom. At First Universalist, our mission is to explore our faith, embrace this community, and to engage the world as spiritual seekers. May we take these words to heart. If this is your first time to our congregation, welcome. We invite you to fill out a connection card located in front of you in your pew so we may connect you with programs here that interest you. If this isn't your first time, but you'd like to check off a box on the connection card, please feel free to do so. And you can drop it in the offering plate when it is passed later in our service. For those joining us with young children, nursery care is available during our service for babies and toddlers, and the nursery care is located out that side door and down the hallway on the left. Following our service, all are invited to join us for coffee hour. I got a glimpse of the treats, they look really good. Our time of friendship and fellowship downstairs in our gathering room. Before we begin this morning, I have 3 announcements. Number 1, following our service today, we will be holding an information session on our upcoming capital campaign from noon to 1 in the common room. That's the room that's downstairs off the gathering room, down the hallway there. If you want to learn more about our goals for this campaign, or if you're interested in getting involved as the campaign takes shape, please join us. All are welcome and lunch will be served. Also following our service today, there's too many things to do, okay? All right. We will have an interest meeting for anyone curious about a trip we will be taking to visit our partner church in Yepes? Whoa, thank you. Okay, Yepes, Romania, next June. Join us in the sanctuary right here. That meeting will be right here at noon to find out more about this upcoming Unitarian pilgrimage and service trip. All high school-aged youth and all adults are welcome. If you cannot make the meeting, we have info sheets that you can take home with you to learn more. Just ask Reverend Hillary or Gwen. Number 3, on this fun and busy day, all are welcome to join Reverend Hillary for apple picking and cider donut eating. I don't believe there's a cider donut eating contest, but I see ribbons waving, okay, at Thompson's Orchard in New Gloucester. We'll meet in front of the main building at 2 p.m. for a sweet and crisp autumnal outing together. I urge you to look in your order of worship because there are even more things going on, but also Reverend Hillary has an announcement that she would like to make.
Hey everybody, so starting this Tuesday morning at 8:30 in the morning, for early birds out there, I'm going to be leading something called Lectio Divina, which is an ancient reading practice. Yeah, fake ribbons, sure, we can wave them. And this will happen from 8:30 to 9:30 in the morning. Bring your coffee. I'll put some hot water and snacks together. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at a poem, a sacred text. Maybe some months we'll listen to a song, and we'll listen or read it and contemplate it, share what it brings up for us, and have a sweet little discussion about the sacred practice of reading and feeling these holy words in our body, speech, and mind. So join me. We'll give it a shot. It's going to be an experiment. Let's see what happens. This Tuesday, 8:30 in the morning in the gathering room, on the couches, downstairs. See you there.
And now, I invite you to shift gears, to take a deep breath, and stretch. As we settle into this time together. Our music director, Sam Chandler, will lead us into worship.
Thanks, Sam. We can work it out. Good morning. How are you? Just fine. It's so good to see you. Today is the first day of fall. Did you know that? I didn't know that until this morning. Happy fall, everyone. Here we go again. I'm Reverend Hillary. I serve as the minister here of this church that is held up by land once tended and honored by Wabanaki peoples. This land is embraced by a holy muddy river once known as the Wescustigo. And it is with peace and friendship and an urge to continue to tend to this land that I say, whoever you are, wherever you're from, whomever you love, whatever it is you have done, you are welcome here. And we're so glad that you too have joined us in peace and friendship this morning. Today, my friends, our third Sunday together in this month that we're pondering the theme of invitation, we invite you to consider the value of voting. Throughout our service today, we'll hear short reflections from our friends on what meaning the concept, the act, the practice of voting holds for them. And special thanks to Sue Ellen Bordwell and Jane Makala, members of our Faith and Action Council and the Maine Unitarian Universalist Service Network, known as MUSON, for helping me pull this service together today. And I will say, my friends, this service today is not going to endorse one politician over another, nor is it going to get into the weeds of current political affairs in our country. Rather, it's our hope today that this service will compel and inspire you to listen deeply to your heart and mind and ask yourself, will I vote? And if I do, why will I vote? And hopefully this fall you will vote. And if you're not registered to vote, Maine makes it wicked easy. You can register online this afternoon. You could register in the service today if you get bored. No problem. Just Google register to vote in Maine, and it will pop right up for you. Just click that link. All right. So during our first Sunday together this month of invitation, we sang the Rumi poem, "Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving." And last week we spoke aloud with gusto lines from Michelle Silverstein poem, "If you're a dreamer, come in. A dreamer, wisher, liar, hoper, prayer, magic bean buyer, come in, come in." And this morning, I share yet another invitational poem for you all. This one from the mighty civil rights activist, queer ancestor, and powerhouse of a wordsmith, June Jordan. I shared June Jordan's poem, "Calling on All Silent Minorities." And I will say that this poem is written in all capital letters. Calling on all silent minorities. Hey, come on, come out, wherever you are. We need to have this meeting at this tree. It ain't even been planted yet. Good morning, my friends. Hey, come on, here we are, this is it. I invite you now to turn to your neighbors, greet them, welcome them in. All right, my friends, I invite you now to rise in spirit and body and join in singing our opening hymn, number 170, and your hard-backed hymnal, "We Are a Gentle, Angry People." And Sam, what verses are we doing?
We'll be singing verses 1, 2, 3, and 6. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for
And will you remain risen and join me in the words of our unison benediction? They're written in your order of service. We are united in seeking to increase love with justice and to constitute a free church open to all people, mindful of our past and drawing upon modern knowledge. We respond to the spiritual needs of persons and are devoted to the common good in community, nation, and world. We cherish the integrity of each individual and search for truth with reason as our guide. We respect differences of opinion and strive to be a democratic community. We are concerned with this world and open to the future. Thanks. You may be seated. Our friend Larissa will light our chalice this morning. Thanks, Larissa.
I would like to invite anyone who wants to come up and light the chalice with me to do so now. I need help. Hi. Good. It looks like I have a lot of help. Good morning. Hi, everyone. Hi. How are you? Oh, good. Hi. Okay. So do you remember how we do this, what we say? What do we say? Right, right. Okay, we light our chalice in peace and friendship. So I'll light the match, and we'll say, and the candle, and we'll say the words, and then I'll put the candle out here for you guys to blow it out, okay? Okay, thank you. It's hard to do. Thank you very much. Okay.
Good morning, Gwen. Good morning, Mac.
Good morning.
How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm okay. So today during the service, we're thinking a lot about democracy and voting.
So we thought that during the Time for Wonder right now, we could practice some voting.
The voting we'll be doing is one where we actually think about our values and try to place ourselves along a spectrum.
And to illustrate our spectrum for voting, you're going to take one hand and raise it straight up in the air for one answer, and then straight out to the side for another answer. Wonder if we should all raise the same hand? Doesn't matter.
It doesn't really.
It's you. I'm not going to tell them what to do. Or somewhere in the middle of this spectrum, if that's your answer. So if straight up is one answer, or straight down is completely the other, you might be somewhere in the middle. And we could do the YMCA if you want as well.
Okay, now let's try one out. So what do you value more? Time by yourself, that would be straight up, or time with people you love to the side?
I know, we started off with a hard one.
Okay, what do you value more? Learning something new with your mind, or learning something new as you're doing it with your hands? So something new that you're thinking about, something new that you're acting on.
Okay, and if you haven't yet, look around. Take a peek. Keep your hands where they are, but take a peek at everybody. Okay.
What do you value more? Time outside in nature or time spent in the community with other people?
I feel like there's more of the communities on this side and more of the nature. You guys feeling that? We have some very staunch, like, nature.
Yep.
Okay, what do you value more? Making decisions with your head, with your intellect, or making decisions based on feeling with your heart? So, logic and reasoning, emotion, gut. Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Okay, and phew, that's it. Just those 4 questions to think about. Anyone else like me and just kind of like, I'll just wobble it back and forth? That's.
Yeah, was it hard? Anyone have a hard time with those?
I did. I was in a gray area for quite a bit.
Can we ask one more?
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you rather have to eat pie every single day or ice cream every single day? Pie
Sometimes
every
ice
single
cream is
day?
included in the pie.
There is no one in the middle on these. It is one or the other. Pie with ice cream?
I was going to say, does a la mode exist
Yeah.
in this universe?
Both.
Yeah, middle is both. Let's go with that.
I got us off track.
Okay, did anyone else notice that there were a lot of different answers? Not everyone agreed or shared the exact same values? Yeah? Yeah? Anyone notice that? Okay, you know, it makes me think that even within our framework of our shared values, these new shared UU values, we still have a lot of diversity of thoughts and perspectives.
And what a gift that is, that we can be part of a community centered in love with people who bring those diverse experiences and perspectives to it.
Such a gift. Gwen, Mac, it's time for Children's Chapel,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
Can I ask what you all will be up to and where you're headed when you go to Children's Chapel today?
Yeah, so today in Children's Chapel, we are going downstairs, we're gonna start in the kitty corner and then head to the kitchen. We're reading a fun book called Room on the Broom, and we're gonna make edible mini broomsticks and play.
And in junior youth group, we're starting our program on animal helpers, and we'll begin learning cat and dog first aid together.
Amazing. You going to talk about porcupines at all during that?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Great.
All right, but before that, let's say our children's blessing. We are Unitarian Universalists, people of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands.
Have fun. As I shared during the call to worship, we'll be hearing reflections from our friends this morning on the value of voting, and we'll hear our first 3 reflections now. I'm so happy to welcome up Sarah Whitty, Tom Settlemeyer, and Sue Ellen Bordwell to speak their hearts and minds to us.
Hi, I'm Sarah. One of the prompts for this little bit to speak today was, how is voting part of your spiritual practice? And my first thought was, how could it not be? right? I take my UU values everywhere I go, but just to expand on that a tiny bit, every week we say we are devoted to the common good in community, nation, and world. And what does that word devoted mean? So in community, I do what I can for my family, my church, my work. I show up. So around here, it's making pies or serving on a committee. I'm just devoted to the common good at First Universalist. Nation, by voting in local and national elections, choosing the candidates who embody my hope and my values as a UU, I'm devoted to the common good for my nation. And world, by being a person on this planet who dreams of health and harmony for all life and does what she can most of the time, sometimes showing up, but I believe in that. I'm devoted to the greatest common good. So by being UUs, we believe in the beloved community. I know I'm preaching to the choir big time, so maybe all I should just say is, I see you. I see your good person. You're walking the walk. You're showing up here in all the places. I see your spirit. I see you devoted to community, nation, and world. Namaste.
Much like lighting a candle of joy and concern, voting is a candle of joy, thanks, and promise. Thanks to all who have voted before me, joy for the privilege and responsibility to vote, and promise of love and commitment to those who follow. For me, voting is a duty made prayer.
This may be a little slow. I'll get there. Good morning. Voting. Voting to me is a chance to express my values. Now, we do that every way. We made a choice this morning to come to church. We decide on how we spend our money, where we spend our time, what books we read. But we don't have a chance to express how and who is going to lead us in our communities, in our state, in our nation very often. That only happens with a primary and there's this election coming up here in a month or so. So we've got to take that chance, we've got to take that opportunity to say, you know, here are my values, here are the people who are going to express those values, here's the opportunity that we have to lead our nation in the way we want it to be. So to me, voting is that chance to express our values and to build a better place and to have our world the way we want it to be. So voting, hey, let's do it.
Thanks so much. As these words resonate within us, we now come to the time in our service that we set aside for quiet prayer and reflection. This is a time to think about the past week, look forward to what might come in the days ahead, offer a prayer of loving kindness to someone who could really use some loving kindness, or just be here now in the fullness of this moment. Following our quiet, we'll have a time to light candles, but first, my friends, will you join me in taking a deep, refreshing breath in, a calming breath out, and relax into a sacred time of silence. At this time, all are invited to come forward and light a silent candle for the prayers and meditations you keep today. Though we'll not be sharing our feelings out loud this morning, our gathered community and I hold your joys and sorrows with you today and always. If you'd like to light a candle, just come forward, take a candle from the basket, light from our chalice, and place it in our pot of collective sand. We ask, as you place candles, you begin at the far end of the pot and gradually move towards the pulpit, being careful never to reach over a flame. Friends joining virtually, please write in the chat if you'd like to have a candle lit for you this morning. And I also invite you to light a candle at home at this time. Does anyone wish to light a candle this morning? Will you join me in another short moment of quiet, my friends? As we reflect on these flickering lights and on our own joys and sorrows, on our feelings and experiences and the events around the world, I invite you to join me in a prayer of loving kindness, of metta, a prayer meant to surface the limitless compassion that we all possess. If you like, you can repeat these lines after me out loud, silently to yourself, or just listen. We'll recite this prayer 3 times, first for ourselves, next for others, and finally for everybody, for all sentient beings everywhere. As you recite these words or listen to them, I invite you to think of them as moving across the earth on a crisp autumn breeze. And I was once told by a teacher that when you say a metta, a loving kindness prayer, you should always open a window so they do, in fact, catch a breeze. So thanks for leaving that window slightly ajar. Pete. Will you again take a deep breath with me? Center yourselves and join me in this sacred prayer. Taking a breath to pause, to be with yourself, feel your body and the sensations around you. Join me in these words. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live in safety. May I know peace. Reminding yourself of the existence of many other beings beyond you, both those sitting right next to you in this moment and those stretching across this earth. Join me again in these words. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live in safety. May you know peace. And finally now, feeling your place in the family of things, the life abounding all around you and within you. Again, may we be happy. May we be healthy. May we live in safety. May we know peace. Let it be so, and amen. It's fun to think of those words just moving across the whole earth on the breeze, right? Touching everyone. Ugh. We now welcome up 3 more of our reflectors this morning, Sam Chandler, Larissa Sellers, and John Abel. Thanks so much for speaking to us.
So I'm not even sure voting is the best way to make change. Nonetheless, I'm what's called a super voter, which means I vote in every election, every special election, every off election. I think since I turned 18, I missed 1 special election. I think it's an easy way to engage, and it's an option to engage in making meaningful change. Petra Kelly, the founder of the German Green Party, had a phrase for the organization of her party, which was the 2 feet of political engagement: grassroots political activism and election and running for office. And they're separate but important pieces. And this is for a political party. So being engaged with your community on a grassroots level, working for meaningful change in your community, and also working within the system to make meaningful change as an elector. So as far as voting, a lot of people are aware of the national stage, who's running for president or senate. I would encourage you to think more about the most local elections, voting for your dog catcher, so to speak, or more specifically, the people who manage your water and the people who are going to be in your city council. What's really great about those people is that they're available. You can call them and they'll answer. You can call your state house representative or the people running against your state house representative and they'll talk to you. They'll pick up the phone. It's a way to really engage directly with that process. If you're totally unsure who to vote for, Maine has a cool system called ranked choice voting, which allows you to put all the people you want to vote for on the ballot. And not going to get too in detail. It's not that complicated, but it's complicated enough. If the person you vote for doesn't win the majority, which is 50% plus 1, then it'll go to your second choice, and so on down the line until your vote lands on somebody either you get to the end and nobody wins, or it'll land on someone who gets the majority. If you want to learn more about ranked choice voting, I would encourage you to look on the maine.gov website and to learn what that means for your choices. But it does allow you to vote your values more, to pick the people you most want to vote for as your number 1 choice. So thanks.
I don't remember my parents ever imparting any advice about how one should conduct oneself in civic life. But on September 22nd, 1959, 65 years ago today, Nikita Khrushchev, the then premier of what was then the Soviet Union, arrived in my home state of Iowa as a part of a visit to the United States. He came to see the farming operation of his friend Roswell Garst. My mother, in an act completely out of character, took me to stand by the side of a highway to see the motorcade carrying President Eisenhower and Khrushchev as they drove by. I have a vague recollection of big, shiny black cars and men's round faces. What I do clearly remember is that both of my parents voted the next year in the Nixon-Kennedy election. They might have voted whether or not Khrushchev came to Iowa, but that memory of my mother, Eisenhower, and the foreign dictator is, in my mind, linked to my parents voting. It mattered to them, and it mattered to me, and it still matters to me.
Morning. For me, elections are a reminder that we all have a place at the table. I grew up with 7 siblings, so there are 8 of us, and not a lot of money, so a lot of decisions were made around the table with 8 kids. What kind of ice cream are we going to get? I want strawberry, maybe vanilla, not chocolate. I've changed since then, but... And eventually we all settled on Neapolitan. Flash forward today, 3 of my siblings are absolutely going to vote the opposite way I'm going to vote. And I cannot, for the life of me understand how they arrived at that. They're all sweet, giving, first people to help their neighbors, first person to lead the choir in the church, on and on and on. But for some reason, they're going to vote opposite at me, just like they wanted chocolate instead of my vanilla. But we get by it. And it's not my place to change their mind. It's my choice and my privilege to live my life and to lead the example I can. And what I found and what I know is that regardless of how they vote, there's so much beauty and love and wonderfulness in all of them. So for me, when I go to that voting booth, I look around the huge gym and see all of these people coming in knowing many of these people aren't going to vote how I vote, but thank God they've got a place at the table, and I'm so happy they came.
Speaking of voting, with love at the center, You the Vote is a bold initiative created by the Unitarian Universalist Association's Side with Love team, bringing our democratic values to life in the crucial struggle to build a genuine multiracial democracy. You the Vote engages people in voter registration, issue education, get out the vote drives, voter protection, state leadership development, and more. In addition to election year organizing, the Vote is building a year-round movement toward building a truly inclusive democracy. For those in the sanctuary this morning, we will be passing the offering plate to one another. For those gathered with us online, you are invited to make your offering using the donate button in the order of worship or by dropping a check in the mail. Thanks to everyone for your generosity.
We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves all mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land that can be. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bring the good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream, and peace like an ever-flowing stream.
Thanks, Sam. Will you rise again in spirit and body, friends, and join in singing our song of thanksgiving? The short verses are in your order of service. Thank you so much for your generosity. You may be seated. Jane, do you have a good word for us?
I do, always. Well, you all have heard a little bit about You, the Vote in your order of worship and from Larissa just now. So you've learned the basics about You, the Vote, but you may not know that Maine's 26 UU congregations are linked in a way that allows them to participate more easily in the You, the Vote program. This is done through a system that was set up in the last presidential election cycle that I'm happy to report was designed and implemented by our very own Sue Ellen Bordwell. Representatives of Maine congregations who are participating meet by Zoom to share ideas and resources. And we're fortunate to have Debbie Starkle representing our congregation in that capacity. So voting is not just about individual values-based decisions. It's about connection and collaboration and community. When we decided to participate as a congregation in this year's You, the Vote, the Faith in Action group set what we thought was a pretty ambitious goal of completing 500 postcards. As of last count, they're right here before you, we were at 555 postcards. And, well, let me ask first, how many of you participated by writing one or more of these postcards? Whoa, fantastic. And for those who didn't get a chance to yet, we've got another 100 postcards downstairs in case all of that array of choices at 12 o'clock don't appeal to you. You can come, take 20 minutes, fill out a couple of these cards, and be part of this communal effort. These postcards are nonpartisan, but in addition to lifting up inclusive democracy, they identify a number of other important issues as well that deal with freedom and basic rights and well-being. We write on the cards, and this is an example, we write this scripted message. Our rights are on the line November 5th. Good jobs in schools, affordable housing and public safety, voting rights, and reproductive freedom. The rest of the card is devoted to a couple places where we encourage the recipient to use early voting and this information-packed stick-on label that tells them exactly how they can do that. We've participated this year, this summer and early fall, in 2 swing state Get Out the Vote postcard campaigns in Georgia and North Carolina, all addressed to Black voters. In sticking on the information labels at the start of this process and putting on the stamps at completion, I have held every one of these 555 postcards in my hands at least twice. And I have to say, it has changed me. I went from feeling like a peel and stick machine on autopilot to actually thinking about these people who are going to receive one of these colorful handwritten postcards in their mail aimed at nothing more than making their voting experience easier. And the words of Reverend and Senator Raphael Warnock kept going through my mind. You've probably read this quote: "Voting is a kind of prayer for the world we desire for ourselves and for our children." I just love that. So I started reciting the names of some of these people as I was putting stamps on. And I'll be darned if it didn't feel a bit like praying. Reaching out with every one of these cards and making room in our spiritual community for their inclusion. People like Jaleisha in Charlotte, North Carolina. Michael in Cornelius, North Carolina. Ania in Ellenwood, Georgia. I have a representative sample and array of some of these postcards sitting here in front of the chalice, and I'd like to invite anyone who's participated already in doing any of these postcards to come on up. Just come down the side, and one by one, I'd like to invite you to pick up a couple of these cards on the table and read aloud the first name, town, and state of the recipient. And as we listen to these names, let us feel their presence with us and know that the remainder who go unnamed are no less a part of our spiritual community this morning. So please come on up.
Mazo from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Roland from Huntsville, North Carolina. Divine from McDonough, Georgia.
Devante from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Charles Greenwade from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Priest from Charlotte, North Carolina. Chelsea from Rex, Georgia.
Angela from Stockbridge, Georgia.
Brenda from Matthews, North Carolina. And Donnell from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Clarice from Jonesboro, Georgia. Marva from Stockbridge, Georgia.
Victor from Charlotte, North Carolina. And George from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Sally from Charlotte, North Carolina. Frederick from Huntersville, North Carolina.
Cassina from Charlotte, North Carolina. Jessica from Ellenwood, Georgia.
James from McPono, Georgia. And Dorothy from Charlotte, North Carolina.
William from Charlotte, North Carolina. And Dominique from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Ruby from Charlotte, North Carolina, and Jakina from Stockbridge, Georgia.
Timeshia from Stockbridge, Georgia, and Ayana from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Daria from Newell, North Carolina. Antonio from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Savon from Huntersville, North Carolina. And Alton from McDonough, Georgia.
Oh, I knew I'd get one I can't pronounce. LaSonia Rivers from McDowell, Georgia. And Ashante from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Thank you, Jane. Latoya from Charlotte, North Carolina. Miranda from Charlotte, North Carolina. And so many, many more. Thank you all who wrote those postcards. And if you'd like to write one and you haven't yet, there will be a whole bunch downstairs. Just a short reflection from me this morning. I can't help but think about the value of voting. I can't help but think about 5 years ago when I was serving as the chaplain of a boarding school in New Hampshire. And it was 2020, and New Hampshire, you might know, has a pretty big deal primary, and it was the presidential election. And as someone who worked as a chaplain for the student life department at this school, it was my job on the primary day to drive the van back and forth that allowed kids to vote. And all of the kids I drove that day were voting for the very first time in their lives. And it was powerful, and I had to go to Dunkin' Donuts every single time on the way back to celebrate. Not a problem. But I recall this one kid in particular. She had turned 18 that January. She was from the Bronx, and she got in the van, and we went by first names at this school, so I wasn't Miss Collins Gilpatrick. I was Hillary, and she got in, and she was like, "Hillary, I am so pumped to vote." And I was like, "All right, why are you so pumped to vote?" And she said, "I am so pumped to vote because I need those people to know I exist." And I was like, "Me too. Yeah, that's right. That's right. They need to know you exist. You must be counted." And Sam is exactly right that voting is just one way to let our leaders know that we exist, but it is an easy way and a way that we all should participate in. And so with that, my friends, I'm going to ask you to get out your ribbons, and we're going to have a time of blessing these postcards and ourselves and everybody else. So you can wave your ribbon however you want. You know I'm not going to tell you what to do, but wave your ribbon is the direction. And you can kind of just whirl it lightly, again, imagining our prayers are being caught on a breeze, like we're just spinning it out all around. And will you join me in a time of blessing and prayer? Spirit of life whirling around this world, energy that magnetizes us toward good, be present with us now. Present with each person whose name is written so carefully on these hundreds of cards, and spur us all into right action today, this season, and for all seasons in the rest of our lives. Guide us toward clarity on what it is we value for ourselves and others. Inspire us with more than hope Inspire us with trust that we matter, and each of our precious lives do make a difference. Help us to feel the interconnected web that we are not only a part of, but that we weave with every action we take. And give us patience, as the change we wish to see in this world is going to take some time. Give us strength to stay the course, and self-awareness to know when we must try a different tact or pause to rest and restore ourselves to health and sanity. Spirit, whirling goodness, be not only with us, be with our elected leaders and those vying for election. Stay with them, guide them, provoke them, awaken them, comfort them. Remind and teach them that this land is not theirs alone. It is all of ours, and remind us to hold them accountable and hold ourselves accountable. For all who dwell here have a right to live with peace, live with ease, and be free of preventable suffering. Spirit, be with us now and always, so that justice someday will run down like water and peace like an ever-flowing stream. And may the people say with me now, let it be so. Let's get to work. And let's get free. Amen. Will you rise in spirit and body again and join us in singing our closing hymn, We'll Build a Land? Sam, what lines are we singing?
We will sing verses 1, 3, and 4 with no weird repeats like I did. We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves all mourn. Oh, we'll build a promised land that can be. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll be a land building up ancient cities, raising Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may create peace, where justice and roll down like waters, and come build a land where the mantles of praises resound with Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, and justice and roll down and loose like an ever-flowing stream.
Will you remain risen for our closing benediction? May all beings be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings experience profound joy and the causes of profound joy. May we all dwell here and feel our belonging to this place and help each other get free. And will you join me in the words of our unison benediction? For those who come here seeking God, may God go with you. For those who come embracing life, may life return your affection. For those who come to seek a path, may the way be found and the courage to take it step by step. Go in peace, my friends. The service begins when the service ends. Our Sunday strummers will lead us in a sing-along if you'd like to stick around, for this land is our land. Your land. Your land.
Let's get into it. It's in the key of G, starts on C. Here we go. 1, 2, this.